In the summer of 1933, Ellis took a job in New York at the Madison Square Church House, working with inner city youth. He served as the summer camp director, and the boys nicknamed him Mac. The camp log references Mac's adventures, including digging a latrine hole, cutting hair, leading camp songs, and swimming in the lake. He later recorded that he found the work very challenging and enjoyable. One of his co-workers remembered, Ellis had a big smile and his friendly laugh made him very popular, both to young and old alike. After camp ended, Ellis was offered a teaching position in the School of Riverside Church on the west side of Upper Manhattan. Most teens at this school came from wealthy homes, in contrast to those who he had worked with over the summer. Ellis enrolled part-time in postgraduate work at Columbia University. He also worked as a senior investigator, doing survey research for the New York Housing Authority, and attended the BSA National Scout Executive School.
Karma started teaching high school in Enterprise, Utah, and kept in touch with Ellis while he was in New York. One lengthy letter from Ellis in March 1934 alludes to his feelings for her. He comments on waiting anxiously for days for her letter to arrive. He reminisces about childhood and looking bashfully at her long curls. He talks glowingly about her family. He recounts high school memories and how beautiful you looked. He references one thrilling date night they shared, saying, "I shall never forget it."
Ellis wrote, "Karma, I am looking forward to June when we can once more come together. I have so much to talk about that it would take pages and pages, so I must wait and talk to you. If I can have my way, you may see the big city before a year from this spring. Karma, I've had some remarkable experiences, and how I wish you could enjoy them with me."
Karma said, "We used to write back and forth all the time, and I really thought a lot of him. But I said, if I ever marry anyone in the family, it would be John. Ellis is just my pal."
And Uncle John was several years older than Mother, I think 2 or 3 years older. And so Mother dated him. And she always said if she married anybody, it would be John. It wouldn't be Ellis, because Ellis was just a buddy.
Ellis continued to help at the Madison Square Church House, where young people from many religious faiths gathered. He coached a boys' club basketball team and helped with singing presentations. He taught Sunday school at Riverside Baptist Church that year. He also worked as a night watchman and a janitor.
Ellis later reflected, "This experience has made me appreciate the gospel in my life and what it has to offer to the people of the world." When he left New York, one of the teens wrote, "There's no fellow as good as Mac, a truer pal you never did see, a great friend indeed, and a heart of gold."
When Ellis came back to Utah in the spring of 1934, Lila and Karma met him at the train. And in the summer, he attended the National Red Cross Aquatic School at Como Springs, Morgan County, Utah. He obtained his instructor's certificate in first aid, water safety, and basic swimming. And then for 2 years, he was in charge of the swim campaign.
He loved to swim.
Ellis worked the summer of 1934 as a senior caseworker for the Utah State Department of Public Welfare. His brother John got married that summer. That fall, Ellis accepted a position in Denver, Colorado as an assistant scout executive for the Boy Scouts of America. He also received a scholarship to work on his master's degree at the University of Denver.
It says his brother John was married, and Ellis expressed to him during one of his visits home that he would too like to be happily married. In fact, he felt quite pressured to be so. Karma didn't seem too interested at the time. She said, "Oh, Ellis is just like a big brother." So he looked elsewhere.
Uncle John had married and was really happy, and I think Dad was feeling like, he wanted to be married at some point. When he was at BYU, there was a woman there named Ruth Prusse, Prusse.
Ellis married Ruth Prusse in September 1935 in the St. George LDS Temple. He was 26 years old.
He and Ruth went by Alma Gertrude Watson's house, Graham, and said goodbye to Graham and Mom. And I thought that was really significant. And Mother said to me, "I was so silly." She said at one point I thought Ellis was probably interested, but I was just immature, I hadn't grown up. But they came to say goodbye, and I thought that was just really significant.
It kind of shows the relationship. he came to tell her goodbye. And
Because he was leaving.
because he was leaving. And she said at the time when he left, she thought, what have I done? You
Oh,
know,
right,
That
yeah.
she felt like, she felt some regret and wondered,
Wondered if she should have been more than just his friend.
yeah, uh-huh,
Yeah.
that's what she told me.
After Ellis and Ruth were married, it quickly became clear they had very different intentions and expectations. Ruth left the day after they were married. Ellis returned to Denver, crushed.
As you know, the marriage didn't last, and they were married a very short time. It obviously broke Dad's heart. But what makes me feel sad was it was just so hard for him. And in those days, nobody was divorced. It was just a terrible thing to be divorced.
It was traumatic for Dad, and he never talked about it. He never talked about it, and Mother said, don't talk to him about it, it's just too touchy a subject.
Yeah, he never told me. I found out when I was in college. I took a class in genealogy, and I had Aunt Lila's genealogy book. I was home in our kitchen. I was going through it, and Mother said, Marianne, I think I need to talk to you, because of course the sheet was there.
They said nothing about the divorce to any of us. And it wasn't until Marcelly and Marianne got to be college age, were going away to BYU, Mother knew that they would study genealogy and take genealogy classes, that one by one, she talked with them about the divorce, and she'd had Dad's permission, but Dad didn't talk to them. It was just very hard for him to even talk about it.
Here I was, a college student, and just finding out. And then my thoughts were, what else? What else? Am I not my parents' child? I mean, it was kind of a dramatic response that I realize now. Dad never ever talked about it. So.
One day, and it seems to me it was a Sunday afternoon, I was in college by then, and Doug and Helen Marr, we were all home. Doug had taken out the Book of Remembrance and opened it up and seen the records, and here was Ruth Prusy's name. And he showed it to us, and we were just all stunned. And the first thing that came to my mind was, am I really a daughter of Mom and Dad? And then, we were in tears, and we were all, fussing. But then I remember thinking, no, I'm their child. And, when you look at me, I mean, I look like Mom, duh. So anyway, and then they came home and from wherever they were. And then I don't remember much, but I remember at that point Dad said, yes, that he'd been divorced and so forth. Quite a while later, I asked him about it. I said, Dad, tell me about that. And from the standpoint of, did you, were you in love with her? And he said, and this was significant. He said, I didn't feel like it was right to marry her, but I really wanted to get married, and I thought we could make it work, and I did it anyway. So he had a prompting that he disregarded. And I thought that was interesting.
In May 1936, Karma's father had a severe heart attack while visiting Los Angeles. He survived and returned home to southern Utah to recover. Karma took a new position teaching art and home economics at Pleasant Grove High School for the 1936 to 37 school year.
He kept in contact with Karma, and their friendship continued to grow. He would often send her memorabilia from Denver, even pressing a Colorado Columbine in a letter because he wanted to share its beauty with her. He sent her a turquoise ring and bracelet, which she treasured.
I remember her wearing that ring and bracelet.
Typical of his creative remembrances was the following card: Scotch Christmas greeting. McGregor sent it to McDuff, who sent it to McPhee. McPhee then sent it to McLeod, who sent it on to me. I've rubbed it up and scrubbed it up and made it good as new, so here it is. With best regards and happy days to you. Bonnie Christmas, Ellis. He penned in at the bottom, I'm sick to be home, but guess I'll just have to take it with a smile and stay here for the present.
And they both said we should have gotten married earlier. I don't know why we didn't marry earlier. And it was from Denver that Dad wrote to Mother's father and asked for her hand in marriage. So I guess that had been there, they just didn't recognize it.
In May 1937, Ellis invited Karma to come to Denver for the weekend. He reserved 2 hotel rooms and then let her choose which one she wanted when she got there. One room was modern with plain furniture. The other had an old-fashioned antique, large, solid walnut bed. Karma said he was just darling. He took me to the Brown Palace to dinner. It was the most fancy hotel in Denver. We had dinner up on a raised platform. Then you go down a few steps and the ballroom was there, and we danced. It was so fun. I've never seen anyone who had the grace and dance as beautifully as Ellis did. He had rhythm and was so well coordinated. He was a beautiful dancer. Then he took me over to the hotel and gave me a diamond. He had written my dad a beautiful letter to get consent to marry me.
And they went dancing at the Brown Palace Hotel, and he, asked her to marry him, and they got engaged. And I have this wonderful diamond that I have to show you, which was her engagement ring. And she had long, slender fingers, and this will only fit on my little finger, but this is her ring. And it was always such a beautiful ring. It always had such a great sparkle in it. And she kept it always clean and sparkly. And I remember all the canning she did, everything she did with her hands in the dishwasher water, and she always had this ring.
Ellis and Karma married on June 15th, 1937, in the St. George Elias Temple.
This is her wedding gown, and you can see this gorgeous creamy satin. And when you look at it close, but you can just see all the stitching and the beautiful, the sleeves where she did the shirring, and when she attached the snaps. I mean, it's just everything she's done, she just did beautifully. And along with this was the slip. And of course, she made the slip too. So you can just see, how beautiful that was. And everything's, done by hand. And the little straps, I mean, it's just gorgeous.
They spent the first night of their honeymoon in Springdale, just outside of Zion Canyon, and then spent a week in Bryce Canyon, staying at a cabin loaned then by Ellis's brother John, who was a ranger there. Then they returned to Denver, stopping in Salt Lake on the way to apply to the seminary program for the church. They rented an apartment in Denver from a couple who was house sitting for the summer. Carmen remembered how happy they were in Denver. Ellis had lots of people in and out of scouting who thought a lot of him. He was busy all the time.
I wanted to talk about what Dad used to say, because this is so fun in terms of the two of them getting together. Every once in a while, depending on where we were, and he had to introduce us, he would say, "I'm Ellis McAllister," which is the correct way of saying it. We all say McAllister, but it's really McAllister. And he would say, "And I married Karma McGregor." And so our kids are double scotch. We've got 5/5 at home, which I always thought was cute, especially considering he never drank a drop in his life. But I thought that was really cute. And so we have loved our Scottish heritage, and that was a huge thing all of our life that Mother and Dad instilled in us.
Oh, Mother and Dad were very loving and very warm. Dad always gave Mother hugs in the kitchen and pinch or something, and she'd say, "Oh, Ellis." Like, I got to get on with what I need to do, but you could tell that she liked that. He was very thoughtful. Lots of hugs and kisses.